Hi, everyone. Yes, we are going to be live today, right now on Vibe Up with Erlinda Vo. Woohoo! We are so excited to be here. You are joining us today at the Get Rich Book Club. So thank you so much for being here, and we look forward to doing this chapter. It's a tiny chapter, but a mighty chapter, chapter 2A in the, which book is it, James?
It's this one. You Are a Badass at Making Money by Sincero.
Woohoo! So you guys, welcome. We're going to wait a minute. Hi, welcome, Rebecca. Thanks for joining us. We are so excited to be here. And let me just say hello. I'm Erlinda Vo. I am the Energy Alchemist, and I am all about transforming bad vibes to good ones. So while we're waiting for a few more people, I want James to introduce himself, but I want to give you a couple little reminders. Don't forget to like my fan page, erlindavo.com, Vibe Up with Erlinda Vo, and you can always see our broadcast on there. So if you missed chapters 1 and chapters 2, please, go ahead and view it at your leisure. Also, if you want to join our closed Facebook group, there's a link on my fan page. So those are just some technical items. One thing that we haven't announced yet that I'm going to announce in a minute after James says hello. James, say hello. So we have a few people watching now. Instead of that awkward first couple minutes,
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody. My name is James VanHofwegen. I'm a realtor here in Chicago. I help people achieve their dreams through real estate. Just a quick aside. I've got a little cold or something that's clearing up right now, so please excuse my slight raspiness. I'll try to manage it the best I can. But we're really excited to have you here and go into a really awesome chapter with some great content, great stuff for you this week.
Absolutely. So before we get started, you guys, I want to just announce a little thing that we're going to be offering, which is our text message money mantras. So this one thing that we provided during the beta test was amazing. So if we're going to be announcing it this week on our closed Facebook group and how you go ahead and do that. So make sure you join our closed Facebook group, Get Rich Book Club. It's a link on my fan page. So go ahead and click there and it'll ask you a couple questions and you can join us there. So it's really exciting. We're going to do it about 3 times a week where you get a money mantra to your text message. It is amazing. I'm also going to be posting an hour video of James and I having a discussion about this and the difference it made for us. It was really cool. So welcome. If you're just joining us, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Life is happening. I know James is dealing with the cold. I was dealing with some clients all weekend, different things happening. So life is happening. And that you took time out of your day to be here, I just really, really thank you. So welcome. Welcome to the Get Rich Book Club. And we are in chapter 2A of You Are a Badass at Making Money by Sincero. So our specific intention for the Get Rich Book Club is aligning your energy with what you are creating for your own income, wealth, and abundance. And as last time we mentioned that, some people have money handled. Like they're not out there causing a breakthrough for money because money's handled for them, right? But you can use this book and some of the principles that James and I are talking about and discussing for any area of your life. So if you want to have a breakthrough in love or romance or health, anything like that, you can use the same principles. So James, why don't we just kind of dive right in and let's get started. Any other announcements or logistics, James?
Not over here, no. Did you have anything? Maybe recap
No.
from last week?
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, so just a recap from last week, you guys. Here was a couple bullet points from last week. Our realities are make-believe. Whatever we make ourselves believe, we experience. When it comes times to forming and transforming our human experience, the power of the mind reigns supreme over any type of external truth. So we know that the mind kind of overpowers, and no matter what's happening, our mind kind of runs the show. The other point was that your external world is a mirror of your internal world. And our subconscious mind is the motherboard that controls all of our results. So look at your results in your life and you'll know what's going on in your subconscious mind. I think those were the main points from last week. And why don't we do you want to take it off by sharing something that's opened up in the last week for you, James?
Wow. So to reference last week, a distinction, our subconscious mind, the little prince, whose main focus is to persist, right? When you sufficiently disrupt or attempt to kill off that little prince, all sorts of stuff happens, right? I'm dealing with whatever this is, right? Inside of a rather large breakthrough for me in my romantic life. So I guess you could say that right now I'm coming face to face with everything that I've created in terms of my romantic life being fulfilled, and the little prince, right? The subconscious mind is kind of throwing a fit. It's short circuiting, like this doesn't compute, right? It's pulling a Johnny number 5, as I like to say. That's an 80s movies reference. But yeah, no, it's okay.
Wait, you have to explain it to me if I'm part of the host here and I don't understand your reference.
So there was this movie in the mid 80s called I think it was called Short Circuit, and it was about like robots. Like this was when we were first starting to make robots that could actually do cool stuff. And there was this one robot. He was named Johnny, but he was number 5 out of like however many robots there were. And so he, like, in one scene he kind of went nuts, and so thus I say short circuiting or pulling a Johnny 5. So yeah.
Well, and as Rebecca is saying down there, is that self-sabotage. You can label it as self-sabotage. However, in this book, she's talking about the subconscious mind and how the little prince or that subconscious mind will do anything to survive, including give James possibly pink eye and a cold. Okay. And if you guys were on last week, I had just recovered from like 3 days of being sick. Okay. So you have to understand that when you start to declare, and a lot of you on this call right now, hi everybody, welcome. When you guys joined us and you started and you wrote down, I give myself permission to be rich, you declare to the universal intelligence that you are literally giving yourself permission to be rich. And that little prince, that subconscious mind went nuts. It's like, oh my God, get back in your little box, right? James, you think you're going to have a love life and a good relationship? Get back in your box. Time out.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Or Erlinda, like, you think you're going to have this nice, great get rich book club? Get back in your box. No one's going to show up, or whatever the mind does, right? So you can label it as self-sabotage, but you also want to consider that it's designed to help you. It's designed to survive. Okay, so it's very common for people to make this wrong. So when you label it as self-sabotage, it's like you're wrong, like something's wrong with you. You're out to, like, not fulfill on something. But I want you to consider it's designed to have you survive. It knows that James will survive without a relationship. He's been doing it for however long, right? It knows how it's designed to survive. So if you can actually start to understand and just get present to it and what are the limiting beliefs, you can then start to alter it. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Good. So let's continue. That was such a good example, James. Anything else you want to just finish that? Because I know I kind of cut you off mid-sentence.
I think that really does it. I think it probably lands for a lot of people. A lot of times we create something, one of our desires, right? We create a desire, And then as we start to move and make progress toward that desire, or it manifests itself and we're like, holy cow, this is here now. And we then have to, or we're faced with dealing with ourselves about it. And the subconscious is dealing with itself about it until we can match up to our desire being manifested or actualized, right? Does that land? Is it?
Well, I think just stop battling with yourself.
Right. Right.
Okay, you guys, it's like your mind will do, the little prince will do what it does. Just don't battle with it, okay? Just get that it's trying to have you survive and take the actions anyways and keep moving forward and keep being in a community of people who are listening newly for you. Right? So James, that's one thing I'm listening for you, is that by the end of our book series, you're in a committed relationship, right? That is something that you intend to have, right?
Yeah. There's a bit more to it, but for simplicity's sake, we'll leave it there.
Yeah, and whenever you're in that breakdowns and making yourself wrong, you could be sure that the little prince is trying to survive. It's saying, no, get back in the box. Okay, this is the analogy I like to bring up right now, okay? Do you know that game, and I don't know what it's called, but it's like whack-a-mole or something like that, where yeah, it's
where
like
the mole pops up and you gotta
whack it back in, right?
Yeah,
so that's whack-a-mole. It's like that's what we're playing in life. It's like, Anna's like, yes, I'm gonna be really successful, and then someone or herself comes and whacks her back down, right? Or James, like, it's like, oh, get back in that box. Erlinda, I don't think so. Right back in that box. Okay. So you guys, this is that the subconscious mind is doing that. Okay. The little prince is doing that, but it's doing it to survive. Yeah. So don't battle with the mind. Okay.
Right. What I've taken on inside of whatever this is that I've got is that this is just a contrast period. Right. So, I'm thankful for it. It's here. It's part of the process, and this is what it looks like right now.
Yeah. Well, when you're not battling that, right, and you're not playing the game of whack-a-mole, what do you get to do? You get to start to interact with a universal intelligence. You want to get into that a little bit and just give us our key points for this chapter 2A?
Yeah, absolutely. So key points for this chapter 2A. Universal intelligence and our thoughts are basically the same force. Just as, the water droplet that lands in the ocean, it's then part of the whole ocean, right? So our thoughts exist as part of a universal intelligence, and we're incredibly powerful beings. That and everything that we can think of already exists in the universe. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to think it. So let that sink in for maybe another time, right? Everything that you can possibly think of already exists in the universe. If it didn't already exist in the universe, we wouldn't be able to think it. That still blows my mind every time I read it, every time I hear it, every time I think it. It's kind of the chicken and the egg analogy, but those are some of the key points from this chapter, and though those are only two points, they're pretty powerful.
They're pretty deep. Yes. Thanks, Rebecca. Exactly. First of all, you guys, we're going straight into content here. So don't forget to say hello. Let us know you're here down there. Thank you so much. Yes, exactly. That is deep. So if James, wants to have a relation, I'm just using you because you started with your example, James. If James wants to be in a committed relationship, right, that already exists in the universe. And the pathway to achieving that also exists, right? So otherwise, it just wouldn't be on his radar. He just wouldn't have the thoughts of it. So, I love that. one of the things that is what we're working here, James, hold up the book again. Can you read the full title? Because, we're talking about you are a badass at making money, but there's something right underneath it. What does it say right underneath there? Master
the
the
mindset.
mindset of wealth.
Yep.
Okay. So this book club and along with this book is really providing a set of tools. Okay. I posted on the fan page, like, how do you deal with some of these limiting beliefs? Acknowledge it, right? Start to reconstruct it, like we were talking about last week. If you constructed it, you can unconstruct it and reconstruct a new one, right? And this is what we're doing. We're exercising the muscle weekly. Okay, we're exercising a muscle, and sometimes it's going to get sore, or you're going to get sick, or you're not going to want to be here, and all of that is okay. Wherever you are is okay, but with effort and the work that you're putting in, using the workbooks or doing the money mantras, or even watching these videos, thinking through and discovering what is running in the background, right? Because we're going to master the mindset. What's running in the background? So I don't know if you've been on a computer that's had a virus running in the background, but it's like slow, it's unclear, right? So by us distinguishing the limiting beliefs, the subconscious mind, right, that's going to start to develop our muscle to be able to construct it and unconstruct it. Okay, and then reconstruct it. But there's a huge part that this chapter is now taking us to, okay? And this is the exciting part, because this is about the universal intelligence. And when Jen talks about, she says, I'm sure you've been like OMG before, right? So you might not believe in God, or you might believe in God, or you might believe in a higher power or universal intelligence. The bottom line is if you want to master the mindset of wealth, you want to be open to at least that there's some kind of power greater than yourself and your physical being. Okay. So as you're on this call, we just invite you to open your mind and just let us explore this chapter a little bit. Go ahead, and James, go take it from here.
Yeah, so in that vein, and I just opened up the book here real quick. She gets into, yeah, we might call it God, we might call it the spirits, we might call it the divine, whatever we call it, or universal intelligence, as she names it here in this chapter. We believe in something, and she cites a few different references, right? One is electricity, another is gravity, right? Those are two things that impact us on a daily basis that we don't actually see, but we know they're there, and so we act accordingly, right? So we don't go sticking forks into electrical sockets. We don't we don't go walking off bridges without anything under us, right? Hopefully most of us don't. Right, and then she brings it even more into the physical realm, right? Where just because we can't sense it, right? We can't see it, taste it, touch it, feel it, or smell it, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. That it doesn't exist, or that there's something going on beyond our perception. And what she cites are bats, right? Bats are they can totally make fun of us right in front of our faces at frequencies that are too high for us to even hear, right? The cats and their bionic nighttime vision, right, can totally outmaneuver us in a nighttime obstacle course, things like that. So for the sake of right now, like Erlinda said, even if you don't believe it, even if it's all woo-hooery, as Jen says, excuse me, woo-hooery. So,
as James would have said prior, right, James?
yes, of course. Actually, yes, very much so. That's a good point. Right. Before I read this chapter and really took it on, all of this stuff to me was complete nonsense. Complete nonsense. Okay, I'd heard of things like the super intelligence before, or universal intelligence, whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, that's nice. but that's not like, no, that doesn't exist. And then stuff started to happen, and I'm like, I'm in, right? This is it. This is right. Universal intelligence and the power of our thoughts are real, and they're affecting our everyday lives every single moment. Okay, so I don't know. Erlinda, why don't you share some examples of universe? I know you've got a couple. You've got probably a few.
Well, first of all, just you guys, thank you for saying hello. Thank you, Carrie, Teresa, Jessica, Bernadette, Rebecca, like all these people that are on here. Thank you so much. So yeah, let me talk a little bit about some universal intelligence or some examples of this. Okay, so I joke with James, and I have to remind him and people, because when you're connecting with James and I, you probably see James, and James is totally a little bit more woohoo-y now than he's ever been in his life, and that's a function of, there was an opportunity, something started shifting in him, right, and something happened, and by accident or not so accident, the universal intelligence at work here. I happened to be at a friend's house last January, right? And
December.
Oh, December.
December of 2016.
Great. 2016. Wow. Oh my gosh. So we were there, and James was dealing with something, and so for those of you who don't know, I'm the energy alchemist, right? So I see clients and I help vibe them up. I help transform the bad vibes that they're dealing with into good vibes and just be more empowered. Okay. So James was dealing with something, and I wasn't planning on doing anything. I mean, we're at an event, we're doing like vision boards or something. I have no idea. Right. And so he's telling us, I was like, God, he needs just a little bit of a clearing, a little bit of something to help vibe him up. So by that moment, so my friend and I, we were putting some essential oils on James to help clear his energy and help vibe him up. And I'm pretty sure he was like, this is the most, although, two women putting oils on you is like a different reality here. But the point is that was all universal intelligence working at play. James and I we didn't really hang out at all, really. I mean, I hadn't talked to you in probably a couple years. Like, we're cordial, right? And right. It happened to be at the same house at this event, right? And that is kind of like the universal intelligence working its way. So if you're on this call or you're watching this call, there is a universal intelligence weaving its way to bring you here, okay? And there's so many, you can look at the universal intelligence as serendipity. You can look at like, oh my gosh, like how could two people cross paths, out of nowhere, randomly, like at an event in California when both parties don't live there, right? You hear all of those things. And there's many ways that you can communicate, that the universal intelligence can communicate with you, and we're going to get into that. But let me dive into, the universe is made up of energy. Everything is vibrating. It's moving, changing, and buzzing. Our five senses are only interpretation of reality, and a limited one at that. This interpretation of our reality also runs through the filter of our belief systems that we formed via all the information we picked up over the course of our lives. So, the truth blueprint. She talks about the truth blueprint, and that's created by our belief system. It's our perception of what reality is. Okay? So we can say that it's probably a tad limited. So if you've never traveled out of the country, you might have different reality. Or if you live in a state that doesn't have, lots of people, like it's a smaller community, everybody knows where everybody's doing, right? Your beliefs are all created by something, right? So I want to step back because, I do believe in serendipity. I do believe in that the universe is made up of all this energy. Everything is moving, whether it's a brick she talks about, or whether it's the frequencies of all these different things, right? And, that moment that James and I, our paths crossed again, and we were at the same event, his life started altering. He started looking for something. He was in search for something. And then he came across this book, right? And because he came across that book, so one of his friends mentioned it to me, and then I started reading it, right? So just that little interaction is all the universal intelligence at play here. Okay. And you could, if we actually got present to that, then it's like, stop. It's like, wow, you could actually hear the little prince kind of calm down a minute. It's getting present to something that's greater than ourselves, right? It's this universal intelligence weaving and bringing us together. So our thoughts are linked to the invisible energy that makes up all that is. And they help mold it into what we experience on the physical plane. And James, you could talk about this, but there was probably a moment where you were like, I need help, or something's got to change in that December, right? And was that accurate? Like there was kind of like, what's happening? Something needs to change here.
Well, for me, it was, yeah. So there was a bit of a dark cloud hanging over me, metaphorically speaking, from a previous relationship, and I knew that there was something else available other than that limited point of view, right? So we talk about our truth blueprint, and our truth blueprint is determined by our own beliefs, right? Limited, however they may be, right? That is our truth. Yeah. So my truth was, like I knew that something existed outside of these parameters, but I was like right in the middle of those parameters and didn't have access to break out.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I wanted, like I had a desire for something else. I had a desire to break free of those parameters, and serendipitously, right? Or, the universe came along and said, oh, you want out? Okay, well, boop, here's Erlinda, right?
Yeah.
So the universe came along and said, boop, Erlinda.
And all that happened was there was a new view. You went from here, right? And this is for you guys. You got to pull this stuff to your life. Okay. There's the view of here, and we just expanded the view or gave them a new looking or put new glasses on, right? And that's what we're talking about, because it's breaking past your initial blueprint, right? Your initial belief system, which is a tad limited. And how do you expand that into the next level of success, performance, relationship, or whatever it is that you want, right? I wasn't going to share this today because I was going to share it a little bit down the line. So how many of you ever think like, if I talk about something, it's not going to happen, right? We talked about this. Now, there's some stuff, be responsible for what you're sharing. Some stuff you want to hold close to the chest and share in a more private community. But some of the things that I was looking at the beta test for book club, and I was like, wow. So since we started the beta test, I moved from Rogers Park in Chicago to downtown. And I was like, that's kind of a big deal, right? I'm right downtown in the city of Chicago. And that was something that I wanted, but I was like, oh no, I can't afford it, right? It's that limiting belief. And and so this limiting belief is like, I can't afford it. There's no way. It's not even possible. I didn't even allow myself to dream it because it was like, it's just impossible, right? And since book club, one of the things I had declared last year was like, I'm going to be out of credit card debt, and that's what I'm going to do. And but like, I didn't really have the pathway, but like James was mentioning earlier, in the universe, if you can think it, there is a pathway, right? And so probably by the next week, I will be out of credit card debt. And yeah, I wasn't going to share it. And then I realized I was being a little stingy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. it's funny, James, because she says this one line, "You are a powerful motherfucker." And that's her writing. That's her phrase, okay? You are one powerful motherfucker. So, if you really get that your thoughts and the universal intelligence are the same, right? And our thoughts are linked to the invisible energy that makes up all that is, and that helps to mold it to that which we experience on the physical plane, you can create and think anything. The invisible world of your thoughts create the visible world. Okay. We have a question here. So curious how you guys think about knowing something exists outside the parameters, but it's difficult to access that because it's not natural to think that way. How do you access that and remain willing to stay out of the initial blueprint? Oh, that's a really, really great question. Thank you so much for asking that. I want to address that really quick because remember earlier I was talking about don't fight the little prince, right? Like don't go battle with it, right? The moment you make the little prince in the subconscious mind wrong, the moment you're in a fight for it, okay? So that's the first thing. You don't want to fight it, okay? It's actually a good thing that it was there. It's there to protect you. James's heart doesn't want to be broken, right? It's going to protect him from being vulnerable or whatever it needs to do. So as long as he's not battling with that, okay? So you have an initial blueprint. It was designed based on your path, your past. If you can stop battling that and stop making that wrong, then it's like, okay, then start to uncraft it. So I think Bernadette, I don't think you were on the call last week, so check out, there's a little thing on my fan page that I say, the little steps that she gives us is like to unconstruct it. You got to identify what is the limiting belief. So once you can identify that, and then you can reconstruct it, right? So that's one way, right? And then as long as you're not doing battle, you could then start to put your attention on something else called having a great relationship or called being out of credit card debt, right? So, but I want to tell you, and kind of wrapping it back to your point, I think, in the question is that I declared I was going to be out of credit card debt by 2017, okay? And I had this big thing happen that didn't allow that, right? And instead of letting my limiting belief of like, oh my God, I'm never going to get out of debt or I can't do it, like get me down, right? I kept focused on what will it be like to be out of credit card debt? What would that look like? What would that feel like? What's a pathway? There has to be a pathway out there because, otherwise I wouldn't have that feeling or that thought. Okay. So then the second piece to your question is, hold on to what you desire. Right? Let the universe do the work. Let the universe reconstruct and organize the world around you to support that new vision. Okay. And then that's why book club is so amazing, because you get to be around other people who are creating this game of building the mindset for wealth. Okay. And then you start to share like, hey, I'm going to be out of credit card debt in the next week. Then people can like, oh my gosh. Okay. And they're going to support me in that. They're going to, okay, how can I help you with that? Right. So it's all of that support system around that, which makes it easier for you to keep the new perspective. James had a ton of oils on him, first of all. So, if you guys don't know about essential oils, that is one way to help increase your frequency to a next level of performance. Okay. And since the universe is all about energy and vibrational frequencies, that's what happened, right? That was the initial thing. And then he had a community around him, right? Myself and our other friends, supporting him in something new. Right? But he had to take the action. He had to go read a new book and be open to a new conversation about woo-hooery, right? Or woo-woo or all of that, which he was adamantly against it, right? But now he's the one that sends me links to like Abraham Hicks things and like all these spiritual stuff, right? Which is amazing. But it took him a while, and it sped up when you can actually increase your frequency using something in this reality like essential oils. So I hope that answered your question. Any other additions to that, James? Yeah.
Yeah. I think, so who was it that asked the question? I'm sorry.
Bernadette.
Bernadette, great question, Bernadette. The access to the view outside the limiting parameters is your desire. And so, right, my desire, so I'm gonna use Erlinda's example right now, right? So her access to the view outside of the limiting parameters of credit card debt, there's a perfect example of it on page 57, right? And she actually says, thinking about how amazing it's going to feel paying off your credit card debt, telling yourself, I'm so grateful this credit card is paid off in full, I can hardly stand it. Over and over, writing out an actual check for the precise amount to pay it off and looking at it every day. All of these thoughts arrange the energy around you to vibrate at a higher frequency to take the physical form of that which you're focused on. Now, another piece that I wanted to add briefly about the vibrational frequency and to help you guys understand that this is outside of this book. Okay, I'm just going to preface this. This is not Jen Sincero. This is James's study into woohooery. The universe is vibrating at a frequency. That is a physical fact. Okay, Nikola Tesla was one of the first to identify this. Okay, these are facts verified by science. Okay, this is not woohooery. What Nikola Tesla started to actually experiment with, and he ended up blowing out the windows of an entire building in New York with a tuning fork in one part of this building, right? He wanted to adjust the frequency of the building, and he did so to the extent that the glass couldn't take it. And the glass burst out of all the windows of this building, right? So what he was doing was he was vibing up the building, right? And the glass wasn't a match for that frequency. And so the glass left. Like attracts like. And this is what we're starting to get into, right? So by you adjusting your frequency to what your desire is outside of your limiting parameters, you are making yourself a match for the vibration of that which you desire, right? This carries a certain vibration. This multiplied by 100,000 carries another vibration. So if you want this multiplied by whatever increment you want, it is incumbent upon you to increase your own physical vibrational frequency to match that of this multiplied by whatever multiplier you want to choose. How's that?
Great. Yes, this is so, I'm honestly, I'm just very moved right now. Because when you are committed to breaking out of that limiting belief, mountains move, life changes. When there's a declaration of, I give myself permission to be rich, life alters. The universal force starts to transform things, move things, right? Listen, last year when I was so certain I was going to be out of credit card debt by October. I think it was towards the end of October. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. This is so happening. And then this breakdown came, right? Which is another part of the flow. It's are you really committed to having your credit card debt paid off, right? It's part of it, right? Instead of me going into the whole, oh my God, it's never going to happen, blah, 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 all that world, I actually just kept focused. Okay, what is it going to take? What's the next pathway? What else do I need to do? How can I do this? What else is possible? Using the tools that I have, like this book, using the people around me, like James and a whole team of beta people who were in the business thing for book club. How can I keep this new viewpoint alive? Okay. Does that make sense? So this is like, it's inspiring. And imagine you get a group of people together breaking their limiting beliefs, standing for their desires to be rich and to cause breakthroughs, like life and magic happen all around. So thank you. And then, okay, continue, James. Anything else you want to say about this chapter? Because I think there's a lot more we can kind of go into a little bit.
There is. There's a lot more that we could go into a lot of it. So the more conscious you are about thinking powerful thoughts, and the less you're caught up in the limiting aspects of the illusions created by your five senses. Illusions. Right? And she has a little comical thing like, seriously, thanks guys, couldn't do it without you. It's so true, right? Like, these identify our truth. Like, this is my lobster claw. Yep. And really everything that's all our perceptions is interpretation of vibrational frequency. Light is a frequency. Sound is a frequency. Okay? All of the matter, anyway. Okay. So all of these illusions are being created by our five senses and our truth blueprint, right? And the more in tune and connected you are to universal intelligence, the more ease you're going to have in getting rich and manifesting and actualizing your desires. To go a little bit deeper, our thoughts, like whenever we think a thought, it alerts universal intelligence to start arranging the energy in such a way to make our desires manifest in physical form. Okay, so for Erlinda, right? Actually, I'm not going to use you as an example right now. I'm going to use me, because this is something that, like, I have a desire for to live in a specific condo here in Chicago. Okay, this condo is amazing to me. Okay, it overlooks Millennium Park and the lake, and it's right on Michigan Avenue. It's 3 levels. It's got an amazing kitchen. The living room it's got a wraparound little foot deck, right? So you can go outside and you're right above Michigan Avenue, and you're looking out over the lakefront and over Millennium Park, and it's just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's 3 levels. It's a penthouse, right? I think it's something like 4 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms. It's got 2 rooftop decks, right? It is amazing. And every day I vision myself waking up, coming downstairs and looking out through this living room over Lake Michigan and Millennium Park. And I also envision some other things, but like, I'm there. Okay? So what I'm doing is I'm sending out my thoughts to universal intelligence, right? To say, hey, this is where I am, right? As a present tense manifestation, right? And Erlinda, I want you to actually speak to that for a brief minute in just a moment.
Okay.
Yeah. I know I just put you on the spot. So, but that's me, right? Thinking my thoughts to alert universal intelligence, hey, arrange the energy this way. Okay? So guys, so you have access to that. Each and every one of us has that access. We each have that power. Okay?
I want to put just something in really quick. I think that's amazing. Thank you for sharing your vision with us. Okay, first of all, and you're right. Our thoughts alert the universal intelligence to start arranging the energy in such a way, right, to make our desires manifest in physical form. Okay, I do want to put in here, because this is very important. This is Erlinda, the spiritual stuff. Okay, this is also very, very important, which is allowing the universe to do its thing. Okay, so for example, for me, getting out of credit card debt last year was like a big deal. Like I was like this, right? But we are not like here, like I am going to force the universe to go and comply with everything, right? Like, I'm going to make like, right? So I want, because James, I love what you're creating, but I also want you to know that the universe has millions of things. Like, what if it wants to bring you a penthouse in freaking Paris? I mean, I don't know, right? But so it's important to specify, to get creative, to visualize that, right? Like I was like, I want to be out of credit card debt by 2017, and I'm so excited. And I was like, yes. And I played that game and I created, but the universe had some other intentions, some other things. So yes, you want to be, it's this, and this is so important. This is what I believe to the core, is that it's about co-creating. Okay. It's about like co-creating with the universal intelligence, right? So James has now given his instructions to the universe, found the parameters, built it out, right? Visualized it. And now it's time to like coordinate with the universe. So when the universe gives them an intuition to go meet this person over here, there's this whole world that starts to get created to align on that vision, right? So it's important to like have the specifics, but also the being. How do you feel if you have a penthouse? How does it feel to be out of credit card debt? Okay. So I want you guys to just stop and take a minute and just look in your life. What area, just drop a little note down there. What area or what's something that you are escaping that limited belief to cause something for yourself in your life? Just drop us a little note so that we know what you're working on. Okay. Just remember, this is a broadcasted live. So if it's something a little bit more private, make sure you do that in our Facebook group, in our closed Facebook group. But really, I would love to have you just share, because there is the specifics, and then there's the letting go and allowing. So it's this co-creating dance. So I think of that movie, Fantasia. I don't know. I don't remember what year, but it's the Mickey Mouse, right? With the sword or wand.
He's a sorcerer.
He's a sorcerer, and he's like blah blah blah, and then the kitchen starts to go nuts, right? It's because we think we're like, oh, I'm gonna make the universe do what I want. It's gonna bend to my will, right? It's not that. It's about creating. It's about acknowledging the opportunities, right? So how does the universe? Do you want to talk about how the universe talks to us and how we can like communicate and hear that?
Boy. Well, yeah, I can put that for my experience. I can speak to my experience, right? So,
well, let me just do, hold on one second. Sorry. Let's do, hold on one second. So the universe is constantly showing up, right? Cup of coffee in hand, wanting to discuss how to increase your finances and offer a helping hand. And it does that through 5 different ways. Okay. And this is what she talks about. She talks about it through, and you can give examples in just a second. Let me just say what they are, James. Intuition, synchronicity, inspiration, desire, and coincidence. So those are the ways that the universe is kind of communicating with you, and that you're in a dance with the universe. Go ahead, James. Sorry. Anything else you want to add to that? Why don't you just share what you were going to share?
Well, for me to pick up, and this is going to go a little bit further into my exploration of woohooery. For me to get the intuition, the synchronicity, that comes through meditation for me personally. Other people may have different methods. It may come to you in a dream. It may come to you while you're working out at the gym, or while you're walking, or in the shower, right? How many of us get amazing thoughts while we're in the shower, and it just, kind of clicks or hits us, or we get it, right? These are the incoming thoughts, right? That the universe sends to us, right? So we kind of skipped ahead a little bit. Excuse me.
Okay, I guess James decided to hang up. Okay, so well, let me just, so there's 5 ways like the universe is trying to communicate, right? There's the intuition, the synchronicity, inspiration, desire, and coincidence. Clearly, we are right on track. So, what do you want to say?
I guess that was the universe telling me that I've said too much. I don't know.
No, we're right on track. So, go ahead.
Okay, so really the going back to the outgoing thoughts, right? Our opportunity is really in the high. Boy, sorry. Our opportunity is in the eye of the beholder. Okay, so as we move toward mastering the mindset of wealth and choosing how we think about money and choosing our reality and relationship to money in a way that will make us rich and not keep us poor, right? This is when we go back to last week when we talked about paying attention to our thoughts. Okay, so we're always sending thoughts out to the universe. Pay attention to those thoughts. We want to be checking our relationship to money, to wealth, to that which we desire, and not focus on that which we don't desire. Okay, very, very key distinction there. When you consciously focus your thoughts on the wealth you desire, imagine yourself rolling around on a big old leaf pile of Benjamins, right? Big old stack of these guys, right? Imagine your bed just like piled high with $100 bills, okay? And feel how right and good and how exciting it is to be in the financial flow, okay? Just feel that for a second. Imagine it, feel what it's like, and you're going to begin to arrange the energy around you and also within you, right? You're going to start to actually adjust your own vibrational frequency to vibrate higher. And as a result, your physical reality, right, our external reality is going to start to mirror back our internal frequencies, our internal desires, right? And the opportunities that we create. So that was quite a bit there. Does anybody, maybe we should take a quick second and see if anybody has anything to say about that. Any questions, comments, real quick.
I think there's a slight delay, so let's see if anybody responds. Yeah, so how can you know if the universe is talking to you, right? And then James was mentioning earlier, like, how do you increase your knowing? How do you increase that communication skill with the universe? All right. So if you are truly committed to kicking ass, this is her words, okay? If you're
a lot
truly
of swearing
committed,
in this chapter.
I know, to kicking ass, you'll want to strengthen your relationship with the universe in the following ways. Quiet your mind to receive information. That's what you were talking about, meditation.
Right, exactly.
Trusting your intuition. When your intuition tells you to do something or not do something, trusting that. Surrender and have faith. This is very important, this next one, you guys. Accept that you don't have to know how to do what you don't know how to do yet. The universe will lead the way. Yeah. So for those of you who are kind of new to frequencies and different things like that, one of the ways that this book club is different is that, we work on the high vibration and the frequencies. How do you alter your frequencies to now start to take some of this mind stuff, right? This is a lot of content that we kind of just jumped right in. We weren't even like giggly. Yeah. I'm mostly giggly. So it was like, whoa. Really, there was a lot of content here, but it's like, how do you easily start to increase your frequency? And one of the ways that we use in this book club is essential oils. For those of you who have studied David Hawkins, he does a scale of consciousness. So for example, if you're experiencing shame, it's a vibrational frequency of 20. Okay. And if you think about some lavender vibrates at a frequency, I believe it's 300. And when you start to put on essential oils, the vibrational frequency that you are at will start to increase to match the essential oils. So we're going to get a little bit more into this into chapter 3. Chapter 3 literally was the chapter that probably changed my life. And, you know, I've been studying this stuff for a long time. It literally, I think, was the chapter that changed my life. So really this week, you guys, we invite you to quiet your mind, to receive information, trust your intuition, surrender and have faith, accept that you don't have to have it all figured out, and the universe will always lead the way. Okay. And yes, do we have any recommendations on guided meditations? We'll go ahead and post some in the closed Facebook group a little bit later this week. If somebody, hopefully somebody on my team is watching so that we can capture that. But really, you guys, just the essential oils are just a way in which you can help increase the frequency. So when you're having a bad day or you just want to vibe up to get to the next level and you don't want to spend hours meditating, some essential oils can help you do that with velocity. So we'll get more into that. What's the oil for clearing limiting beliefs? There's one that really helps with negative thinking. It's called lemongrass, and we'll talk a little bit more about that next week. Really focus on what are your limiting beliefs and doing the mental work to uncrafting it and then recrafting something new, okay? And next week when we start to use essential oils, we'll learn how to vibe up our energy using essential oils and breaking some of those thought patterns.
Yeah, real quick. I know that because we keep coming back to the limiting beliefs section a little bit. If you haven't done so, take a look at page 49, number 2, right? So that's in the chapter 2 assignment, right? If you haven't done that, do it. It's a very powerful assignment. You're going to get a lot out of it. And you're going to start to not just break apart some of your limiting beliefs. You might be surprised at what you identify as limiting beliefs, and then you can start to pull those apart and rewrite them. Okay?
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, you guys, we have a couple minutes before I say thank you and invite you to join us next week. Please ask any other questions below. And we're going to have an essential oil protocol. And if you've never done essential oils or anything like that, there's a link in which you can order a little sample kit. I'll show you what that looks like. It's a little keychain, and it has it's a sample oils inside. It's on the website. These are your clearing oils. So Anna, you were talking about something for limiting beliefs, and lemongrass right in here is really good for that. So these are little samples. You know, if you're not sure about if you're into oils, you know, you're not quite 1,000% like committed to that, no problem. You're going to get so many things out of this book club just by the study and just by the focus. But this is just a way in which you can use this to help vibe up your energy and help start to integrate what you're thinking and what you're learning into your energy field. So it comes a little bit more natural to you, or it seems to me it helps make things a little bit more easier. Okay, so there's a link on my website at erlindavo.com, the Get Rich Book Club. Just click that, and there's a little link that you can order that from. We're going to be talking a little bit more about an advanced protocol. So let's say you are into essential oils and you have oils, or you want them. Either way, we're going to be talking about what you can do if you want the basic, like little protocol, at least to get you kind of started so you can experience it. We're going to talk about the advanced protocol, which when James and I have gotten together, and some of my clients on here know, I use a lot of oils to help clear and create and vibe up. Okay, so you guys, don't forget, I just told you guys about the money mantras. We're going to be posting that in our closed. Thank you. We're going to be posting that in our closed Facebook group. the money mantras, the text messages ones. It's amazing. If you haven't joined the group, join it. You get to get like 3 interruptions during the week with a money mantra. And let me just tell you, you learn so much about yourself inside of that interruption. You might hate us for a couple minutes, but I promise you it's well worth it, okay? So in closing, profound gratitude is what I'm left with for James, all the team members, and all of you guys watching. Like, thank you so much for your support. I would not have the life I have. I would not be getting to be out of credit card debt had it not been this conversation. This has been a weekly conversation for almost 6 months now, creating, vibing up, and I get to start to cause the breakthroughs that I've desired for many years inside of this conversation. And I know James does too. We both have. And so just thank you so much for taking time out of your Sunday to be here. And we look forward to talking to you. Anything else, James? You want to say goodbye for now?
Everything Erlinda said, and you guys are doing really great work out there. Keep it up. Post a bunch of stuff to the Facebook group. Ask us questions, share victories, share, areas where things maybe aren't going the way that you hope they will. But really start to use the tools available. Start to dig in, start to look at those oil protocols. For the guys out there that are wondering about rubbing yourself down with a bunch of oils and like, what will other guys think? Mostly other guys aren't going to be able to smell it, right? And they smell really good. Okay. So I've gotten nothing but compliments. Seriously, I walk past someone, and for the most part, people are like, whoa, he smells good. And it makes me feel good, right? Makes them feel good, makes me feel good. So look into that. Do the assignments that are at the end of the chapters. If you haven't already, take this week as an opportunity to really tackle those. Take full advantage of it. Love you guys. You're doing great work. Love everybody that's part of this. The production team, you guys rock. Erlinda.
You guys, text messages, they'll be posted on our closed, someone's asking, they'll be posted on our closed Facebook group on how to do that, along with an hour video about a discussion with James and I, okay? So feel free to watch that at your convenience. I do recommend everybody sign up for it. It really was transformational, okay? Thank you. We went over by 2 minutes. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. The next chapter is Show Me the Money. Woohoo! So let's talk about it. All right. Talk to you later, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.